What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Hardwood Convos podcast here on the 515 Podcast Network. I'm Brock Bierman alongside, as always, Dawson Livingston and Hunter Rose, here to talk about some NBA hoops here on this first week of December. Good Lord, guys, it's almost New Year already, and I know. Hunter, did you guys over in Kearney, Nebraska get much snow? Iowa got pelted with snow.
Not nearly as much as you guys. It was pretty icy, but like that was really about it, to be honest. So it wasn't too crazy. A few inches.
Yeah, it was crazy. When I went to bed on Friday when it started really snowing, I was like, I'm gonna wake up and it's gonna, like, we're told 10 to 15 inches, all this stuff. I was like, I'm gonna wake up and it's gonna be dusting. I wake up. I actually refused to look outside because I didn't want to be disappointed. Because when I'm told it's going to snow, I want it to snow 10 to 15 inches. I went up, took a shower. I love the photo. We'll get to that more here later on. But I come back downstairs. I look outside and I'm like, oh wow, it did in fact snow a lot here. Dawson, how was your experience with the snowstorm?
I knew it was bad when at Friday at 10 a.m. coming home from Thanksgiving, I got called off from work. I'm like, well, that's odd. We shouldn't be getting that much snow. Why am I getting called off from work? And then Saturday morning hit, and like you said, you look out your window and it's legitimately 8 to 10 inches of snow. And it didn't stop snowing until 6 a.m. on Sunday. It was ridiculous.
Whew. Yeah, it was crazy. I had to. The mistake I made was I already knew I wasn't going anywhere Saturday, but I didn't think about pre-shoveling out my car. So then it had Saturday plus early Sunday. Basically Friday from noon until Sunday at 12, basically worth of snow. So it was fun doing that and then shoveling the driveway as well, just to make sure that everybody could get out easily heading into the work week. But Thanksgiving is over. I feel like some of us have some things to be thankful about. Some of us are kind of struggling just based off of their background choice for the video podcast. But as always, we try to start out with just checking in on how everybody's doing. I had a great Thanksgiving, a lot of great food made by some amazing people. Thankful for the people in my life. But Dawson and Hunter, how are you guys doing? How are your guys' Thanksgivings?
Mine was good. I mean, still I would say one of the better parts of Thanksgiving is Thanksgiving Day is pretty cool, but eating the leftovers days after, when they something about it being in the fridge an extra day or two, I think makes the food taste a little bit better. So still eating a little bit of Thanksgiving food for dinner today, so that was cool. But no, Thanksgiving was good. I don't want to talk football at all. I know this is basketball, but
what's that?
Why not?
Why
not?
I could talk about my Hawks. I mean, 40-16, but no, Thanksgiving was good otherwise than that.
I feel like we're gonna have to trade Hunter to the Between the Hashes podcast, and you can stay here full time for the Hardwood Convos podcast for the time being. With how Hunter wants to talk about football probably more than basketball anymore, but yeah, congrats to your Hawks on beating Nebraska. As a fellow Iowan, member of the state of Iowa, not necessarily Iowa Hawkeye fan, but anytime Nebraska can lose, combining that with my least favorite college football coach and now actually with what happened last week, and my second least favorite football coach, Matt Rule. Anytime you can pair those two up in a loss, I'll take that any day of the week. So that was great. But
would you rather watch Matt Rule or Bo Pelini lose?
See, the thing is people think
you're a lover. I forgot. You don't.
Yeah, he likes Bo Pelini.
You weirdo. You
no.
Ew.
Here's the thing that really just grinds my gears. It really grinds my gears.
All right. Okay.
Everybody's like, Bo Pelini, oh, he's terrible, all this stuff. Yeah. How has Nebraska football been since you fired Bo Pelini?
Funny stat out there. Kirk Ferentz is second all time in Memorial Stadium history with Big Ten wins. Only behind Bo Pelini.
That's crazy. That's actually insane.
So,
Hunter, do you remember the photo I sent to the group chat once imitating Bo Pelini?
Yes.
Dawson, there may or may not be a photo out there of me holding my cat side by side with a photo of Bo Pelini before a football game holding a cat and just trying to mock him because he used to carry his cat out onto the field, which is just the fact that was a thing is hilarious. But yeah, there may or may not be a photo in the cloud, as they would say. But I guess, Hunter, we'll get into really the big thing maybe causing your displeasure of basketball currently. But how was your Thanksgiving week at least?
Man. Thanksgiving was a feast week. Feast week was pretty good. Roll Clones, the Players Era baby. Tournament is
Milan got his first dunk.
True. But yeah, the Players Era Tournament kind of weird, but what can you do, I guess, except just beat every team in your way. So that's not enough though. But yeah, I mean, I also in my 25 years of life have never ever seen Lions fans cry harder than this past Thanksgiving. So that was awesome. That was really good. I'm really excited to get part 2 of that this upcoming weekend against Chicago. I have a cousin who's a big Bears fan.
Oh
so
yeah,
I am prepared. I am prepared. I'm ready.
Met him, right?
Yeah, you definitely.
Yeah, he's diehard.
He's a big Chicago fan. But yeah, but outside of that though, well, and Toyotathon. Toyotathon's a thing. So Jordan Love just is going to become the greatest quarterback anybody's ever seen. So, but yeah, besides that, I had to pull up the classic millennial meme background here of, everything's fine. Nothing's wrong. Nothing is happening right now. Everything is perfectly fine. There is no smoke. You see nothing. We're good. Nothing's wrong.
Would you like to clarify?
No, I don't want to clarify. I don't want to clarify at all, actually.
I honestly think we have to start off with this because I probably think this is the biggest, it wasn't going to be the biggest headline about this show 24 hours ago, but it quickly has became one of the hot button topics of the NBA, really. And we'll get to the Chris Paul situation as well, which is funny. Like I said to you guys before we started recording, the fact that we're having 2 straight weeks of Chris Paul talk in 2025 is a little crazy to me. But of course, we're referring to the news of the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and their relationship seems to be way worse than I personally, at least, expected it to be at this point. Especially heading into the season. I think I saw reports of him requesting a trade before the season actually happened. I don't know if that's ever been confirmed or denied by any sources, but so right now it sounds like Giannis wants out of Milwaukee. Hunter, you will get the chance to really kind of clarify all this, because I feel like if anyone knows really the most information out of us 3, it would probably be you, just because you probably follow a lot more Bucks media related things. But not only did it sounds like Giannis wants out, but Giannis got hurt tonight too against the Pistons, where he was ruled out midway through the game pretty much with a calf strain, which anyone that has paid attention to recent injuries in the NBA, recent big injuries in the NBA, 2 calf strains to 2 all-stars of last season have resulted in them coming back too soon and tearing their Achilles. So calf strain is pretty much, in my opinion, a sign of you're close to tearing your Achilles, you need to slow it down type situation. And I think after the Tyrese Halliburton and Jason Tatum situation, Giannis is by no means going to be rushing back especially with the current situation in Milwaukee. It sounds like he wants out. I don't know, Hunter. I will give you the floor really to kind of clarify all the details that you may know about the situation. But it's not looking good for Milwaukee whatsoever.
So here's the thing. Okay. So if we were to where this really all started was Giannis, the classic high school breakup story.
Classic.
Giannis deleted everything on his social media, so everyone's got to panic. And I'm not here to say that I can speak for Giannis Antetokounmpo by any means. However, I can say that this isn't exactly the first time he has either deleted things off his social media or just like stepped away from social media just in general. He actually does it quite consistently.
That's the thing. I swear we talked about this before.
Yes, we probably have, to be honest. But the other thing too is that if we were to also look at the last biggest piece of news surrounding Giannis Antetokounmpo was all the way back, and I want to say 2020. I think it was actually 2020. It was 2020 or 2021. I can't remember the exact date, to be honest. I may or may not have a concussion right now, but that's for a different story. But
What?
no, we're good. We're fine. Hunter,
it's not that deep. You don't need to be running your head into the wall.
Yeah, my bad. It was when Giannis signed an extension to stay in Milwaukee. That was the breaking news. In other words, it came directly from Giannis. There was nobody else that was like when somebody re-signs with a team or first signs with a team, the first person to break it out is usually, for the longest time it was the Woj bomb. Now it's that new fraud that's at ESPN or other people. And so if people are going to sit there and tell me that Giannis is not going to be the one to break the news that he wants to leave, I'm going to look at you dead in the face and say, you're an imbecile. Because there's no way he's just going to randomly decide. Now, once again, I can't speak for Giannis. I also think there is truth to that. He probably doesn't want to, completely overthrow his team. We've seen it before where if a player comes out during the season and says, I want to be traded, it usually leads to pretty bad things, personally. And within relationships, but just in general, I feel like it has been stated over and over again over the past, not even just past season, but multiple seasons of reports over and over and over again from outside sources saying Giannis wants to leave. Giannis is looking at destinations. The Bucks are looking to move Giannis every single time, and nobody has stopped to just be like, is this source coming from Giannis in the Bucks or are they just making this up at this point? Because if you're someone's gonna sit there and tell me Brian Windhorst knows more about what Giannis wants to do than Bucks ownership, I can't talk with you. I can't talk. I can't have discourse with you. We can't have a conversation anymore. And especially, I think the funniest thing about the whole thing is that includes not just him being like, yeah, I think, Giannis really wants out, but that he includes this has been going on since before the season started. I'm so sure, Tubby. I'm so sure, man. I'm so sure that the guy who played at home against the New York Knicks, the supposed number one trade destination for Giannis Antetokounmpo, when Giannis beat them, going into a timeout, he went, this is my explicit city. I'm so sure he wants to leave, man. And it has been decided on that since before the season started. So I'm just annoyed. I'm just annoyed more than anything because, I have to admit, this feels more real than the other times just due to, everything that's happened. But the other side, too, Giannis is not just a dude that quits. All right, that's just never been his MO. Even before they won the chip, he wasn't supposed to play in that finals. In fact, doctors told him he wasn't supposed to play again if he were to go play in those finals. But he did anyway, and then he dropped a 50-piece. And so, do I actually think everything is fine in Milwaukee? No. There are way too many things that need to be changed. And now with Giannis being injured, and especially too, the scary thing is non-contact. And if you're a lip reader, he looks pretty like, oh, this is not good. And so
it looked like pretty much every Achilles tear that I've seen. I haven't seen the video of like a close up, obviously, of the like it snapping or anything, but like everything that I've seen on a football field this year and everything I've seen on the basketball court this year, which by the way, the amount of Achilles tears that I have seen this year is just unbelievable.
Actually crazy.
But like it looks textbook, honestly, of what I've seen so far of what an Achilles tear would be. They listed it as a calf strain, so maybe that's a good sign. I don't know, but the lip reading made me worry a little bit.
Yeah, and even then, like I said, like just the way the season has gone thus far, there are some positive things. For example, Kevin Porter Jr.'s back and actually looks really good. I am very happy about that. Ryan Rollins is still doing great. He's, probably not going to be dropping 30 bombs left and right like he did against Golden State. But overall, like, especially on the defensive side, he's just a really good disruptor. AJ Green is one of the most accurate shooters ever, it seems like. Dude is in his own stratosphere when it comes to efficiency and making three-pointers. He just doesn't shoot them as often as he should be. But there are so many other problems with this team that just, like, they have to be addressed. They have to be addressed before you can put any pen to paper on Milwaukee trading Giannis. But even though I just said a lot of things about people who think Giannis is leaving are idiots, I do respect your guys' opinions. So if you have ideas that he might be leaving, I can still respect you too. Anybody else out there, you have wrong opinions. All right. I don't want to, I'm kidding. But yeah.
First of all, I know we've mentioned the name a couple times, but for some reason it's now just hitting me. Ryan Rollins sounds like Temu version of Ryan Hollins for some reason. Anytime I
mean light skinned Blade.
Anytime I hear it, it's just like, oh god. This whole situation sucks so much because I'm sorry, Giannis is Luka was too, but whatever. Giannis is one of those guys where it's like I don't know if I could get used to him being in a different jersey that doesn't say Milwaukee or Bucks or Cream City on the front of the jersey. Dawson, it's not the time to be all funny.
Sorry. Yeah. I'm lightening the mood. Come on. You can't throw that one out there and not expect some sort of reaction.
I did that intentionally. I wanted to see what your reaction would be. But no, like legitimately, he's one of those players where it's like I don't know if I could see him in another jersey. Kind of the same way of how I feel about Jason Tatum. I can't see him wearing a different jersey right now. It just doesn't feel right. Other players I could see like a route where that would make sense or whatever, but like I just don't, it just doesn't seem right. So I hope it's not true, and I hope that they can work around it. I do have ideas of if it would to happen, there's really only one team personally I'm calling, and it's an Eastern Conference team. And I think based off of a thing that Dawson sent me actually earlier, I think Dawson and I kind of agree on which team we would call. But I truly hope that something gets figured out personally, because I do love Giannis being in Milwaukee. Having a small market team being good and contending for titles and having one of the best players in the league is so good for the league. Heck, look at Denver. Maybe Denver has changed to a big market since the turnaround that they've had as a franchise recently. But like having those small market teams like playing good basketball only benefits the league. Indiana, Sacramento, the year that they had a good seeding, like really, like jokes aside, the Trailblazers when Lillard was pushing them basically to the 7-8 seed every year. But Yeah, the problem is though is I really don't know what Milwaukee's going to do from here and what they can do to like build something that would make Giannis want to stay if everything of what's being reported is true of like him wanting out or kind of asking to be out.
Yeah, I honestly I have no idea how to read this situation because this isn't the first time we've heard, like Hunter mentioned, this isn't the first, and it probably won't be the last time of like reporters coming out and saying that the Bucks are getting ready to trade Giannis and Giannis wants out.
It's
So it
like
doesn't
Miles Turner being on the trade block for the Pacers every year since being drafted. Which,
right
funny
like
enough, he's in Milwaukee now.
yeah it. So it honestly it doesn't like feel like it's actually going to happen in my opinion, and with him having that calf strain tonight, I think that just delays the process even more. Uh, and you go through like some of the teams that could theoretically like even make a offer, and it's like between two or three teams at this point, if that. Because Houston already made their all-in move when they went for Durant. Uh, I guess San Antonio, but does San Antonio want to even break up that core?
I don't think it works. I don't think it works system-wise.
So, and then the only other two teams I have on my list,
And Dawson and I agree on one of these.
uh, one
It's
of them
the
is,
one that you sent me.
yeah. So I'll start with the other one then. The one, this one's kind of like it solves both people's problems, I guess. Not really. Would be the Knicks because that's been rumored for years, but I don't know how feasible that is. And then the one that I think would be most beneficial to both parties would
Peace
be
up,
Atlanta.
A-Town.
I think Atlanta, if something were theoretically to happen, granted, a lot can change from now on the deadline. So I'm not going to put anything really out there, but Atlanta's got a lot to offer, and I think the biggest thing is they can offer Milwaukee their own first round pick the next 2 years. Milwaukee can recover and salvage at least their draft
What
capital.
about what about New Orleans?
Well, Atlanta has that swap best between New Orleans and Milwaukee.
Oh,
So
okay.
Atlanta owns that now because of the Derek Queen trade.
So no matter what, New Orleans is in Atlanta. The pick. I don't know how all that swap best works. Honestly,
I don't really either, but I know Atlanta has that Milwaukee or New Orleans pick, whatever one's higher.
Okay,
But
dang. Because I was
even
gonna
this,
say if there's a way that they could be like, you can have the Pelicans pick. I don't know how that all works or if it's even possible.
It'd still be a pick swap. Like,
Okay.
so the Pelicans, like, when you trade a pick with no like attachments, you give up the rights entirely to that pick. The other team has
Mhm.
full control. If you trade a pick with like a stipulation on it, you have no, like, if it's a pick swap, for example, you have no like rights or anything over the pick. The other team that is in control of it has the rights to
Okay.
the swap.
Correct. So the reason the Pelicans had that pick to begin with was the Drew Holiday trade back in 2020, 2021. And in order to entice New Orleans, Milwaukee attached a swap best with New Orleans. Funny enough, New Orleans also sucks now. So, and New Orleans doing New Orleans things has decided to trade that pick in this past draft for Derek Queen. So
And
kind of
Zion's hurt again.
yeah, I mean, we could have a whole discussion of the Pelicans and how that franchise has just had like a good year, and that's really it since Chris Paul left. But all that to say, all the teams that I brought up, I don't really see anything happening this year.
Can we stop with the LA talk?
Yeah, that's
the one that like annoys me because what can the Lakers really offer outside of actually sending LeBron? Which imagine
Reeves.
that.
It'd be Reeves and every other role player and every other pick.
That's what I was gonna say. You would have to give up the rest of your starting lineup, not named Luka or LeBron, plus picks. I'm sorry. Like I don't think you can. I don't even think Reeves is a guy. Like I don't even think Reeves makes up 10% of what I would want in return if I was a Milwaukee fan, personally, because you're giving up. I think if I remember correctly, I picked him to win MVP. You're giving up a top 5, top 3, top 2, when healthy player in the league. I don't know if I know Austin Reeves is playing really good basketball, but I don't know if that would be like him being the thing would be enough for me personally.
The other thing too is that, like, so whenever we're talking about trades, there's always this talk about like expiring contracts being really valuable, and those are valuable until they're on like a really good basketball player that also happens to be young, which would be Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
So in a world where a team were to trade to get Austin Reeves, you have zero guarantee he's staying on your basketball team for longer than a few months.
Yeah, so let's stop with this idea that the Lakers are going to find a way to get him. If that happens, I legit will like this podcast will just become a different podcast. Like I will not watch the NBA if that happens. It won't be fun. Which honestly, I could get on a soapbox on how I feel about the higher ups in the NBA right now. But it would almost confirm certain things of what I believe of what the NBA is trying to do right now in terms of pushing certain teams to like making things happen magically, let's just say, for other teams to be good again. But again, that's a different conversation.
Also, I'd like to point out one other thing as we talk about weird things of the NBA. So something I talked about this a little bit on the podcast last week. Now I have numbers to talk about this. So when you guys think of a team that gets officiated on a generous scale, and I'm not talking about certain players. I'm talking about the whole team. What team comes to mind? It might be a team we just talked about, maybe. But what team comes to mind that gets a very generous whistle?
Anyone that has LeBron James on their team?
The Washington Wizards.
Okay, you're full of it. Brock is right, but it is the Lakers. All right, the Lakers have the best whistle in the league compared to their opponents at roughly.
It's better than the Thunder.
Yeah, like as
wow.
To be fair, the Thunder.
Luka makes me so angry.
Shea.
It's just Shea. That's a good point.
Yeah, Luka makes me so angry, and I hate saying it because I really do like Luka Doncic, but like the man is shooting 12 threes a game and is still one of the, like, he gets the most free throws a game. That's not possible. That is not possible, guys. That just doesn't happen. That does not happen at all. It infuriates me. But anyway, the Lakers get the most free throws a game at roughly about, I think the number was about like 5.3. It's somewhere in there. On average, you get 5 more free throws a game. Okay. On the complete opposite side, the Bucks discrepancy is -8. When you play against the Milwaukee Bucks, you have a better whistle than the Los Angeles Lakers with Giannis Antetokounmpo on the basketball team. Man, the running dunk man himself.
They really disrespect Bobby.
How is that possible? This is not possible. It infuriates me because it. Oh my god. Okay. But it is impossible. It makes it so difficult for me as a fan to. I just turned off my mic to judge this Milwaukee Bucks team because they are not good, but they're playing an entirely different game than everybody else. So it is impossible to judge anything. And all mysteriously, while the best player in the world just gets rumors surrounded around him about how he's leaving. And I'm supposed to sit here and be like, yeah, this is normal. This is reasonable. Like this makes sense. Yeah, for sure. It makes me, Adam Silver, count your days. As NBA commissioner, count your days. That Rico case is going to hit like crack. Let me tell you.
I'm maybe it's a different episode, but like I don't know what Dawson's opinion is on the current people running the NBA, but
bad.
Bad. I wish I could tell 13, 14-year-old Brock that just because the meanie, stubborn a-hole commissioner is no longer, and God rest his soul, David Stern, the NBA wouldn't be where it is today without the help Stern as the commissioner. And when I say a-hole, like just the way he presented himself. I mean, every time he got up there for a draft, he, come on, boo me,
Whoa!
boo me,
Sorry.
boo me. But I don't know. Something about Adam Silver. I wish I could tell a 13 to 14-year-old Brock, careful what you wish for about this new like modern guy that believes in the future of expanding this league. Because it might not actually be what you want. Because I have never in my life seen so many people turned off by the NBA now. Like literally people refuse to watch the NBA at all. Like I cannot go to West Des Moines and watch the NBA because the people that I go down to visit like refuse. And the only thing that they know about the NBA this year is that the Mafia made a comeback in 2025. This is the only thing they know about the league this year.
Shout out to
Donahue. I probably a different podcast to really talk about the current state of how the NBA is being ran, but that's just my 2 cents. And it goes. I don't know. This Giannis thing, it's fishy to me because it comes up every year, and some of it I wonder if is actually true or if it's somehow being this agenda is being pushed because the NBA or someone else. Again, this is got my tinfoil hat on. This is tinfoil hat Brock right now. Of whether or not this is actually real or if it's just, again, the NBA maybe trying to push Giannis being like, well, if we release the stuff, he'll maybe think, oh, yeah, maybe I do want to be traded. Maybe I do want to be out of this small market.
She's right. I don't want to be here.
Like, I don't know. It's the whole I don't know. It's fishy to me because it's every 6 months we're talking about this. And he either like needs to, at this point, I'm sorry, he either does need to come out and just say, I want out, or I am working to build something here in Milwaukee. I don't know. Because you see one thing and then you'll see an article that proves it differently. And then you'll see a post or the removal of social media stuff. And then you'll see something else that's like, oh no, Milwaukee is the place that he wants to retire. I don't know. It's a cluster, you know what? And it's like, I like have a major headache anytime Giannis trade talks come up.
Can I throw some hypotheticals at Hunter? On the hypothetical 0.1% chance we experience a Giannis trade before the deadline, I've constructed some trades, and I would like you to give me some honest thoughts and opinions, if that's okay. I know it sounds
my honest thoughts.
I just want I know it's a desperate time, but I've constructed a couple. So sorry, I don't have the graphics printed, but this is the closest you're gonna get.
Oh.
Milwaukee and Atlanta agree to a trade to send Trae Young, Zachary Richie, and both first rounders in 26 and 27 to Milwaukee for Giannis. That's the first one.
Yeah.
The second one is the one that they always rumor is going to happen, but I don't like it at all. But it's just the only way to make the money work for both sides. Milwaukee gets Karl-Anthony Towns and OG Anunoby for Giannis and Kuzma. It's probably my least favorite I have 4. This one, I don't know if San Antonio is willing to pull the trigger on just because they like their young core, but it's De'Aaron Fox, Keldon Johnson, Stephon Castle, and 3 future first-round picks for Giannis and Kevin Porter Jr. And like you said, Kevin Porter Jr. has been playing well this year, so maybe they don't want to deal him quite yet, but I think that's the only way that the money could work with, especially with Fox's contract and Keldon Johnson's contract. And then the last one, this one's the one out of left field, but I think this one could be the coolest. Yeah. Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, Colin Murray Boyles, and the next 4 first-round picks for Toronto for Giannis and Kuzma. I know, again, I'm of the person of the belief that Giannis is not going to get traded.
Same.
Just a fun little thought experiment. Which of those 4 do you like the most, and which one do you like the least out of as a Bucks fan?
I think the least is easily the Knicks one.
Yeah,
that is borderline raw. That's not even robbery. That's war. That's like you get a nuke and I get a coughing baby. That's the comparison here.
That one feels like the Luka trade 2.0. in my opinion.
The
That's
fact
like
that
the
you even
Zane-
put that in the like universe.
I'll name drop this one. That's almost as bad as the Zane Lowe trade, where it was AD for Giannis straight up. It is almost as bad as that. The best one,
Because
it
I like the Hawks one the best.
yeah, that one. I
You
think
killed
the
two
one
birds
thing,
with one stone with that one.
yeah, the one thing with the Hawks one that's weird is I feel like the reason the Hawks would bring in Giannis would be to pair with Dame. Wow, that makes me sad now.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
uh,
you're just going through
To
it.
pair with Trae Young.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like there has been so much with Trae Young in Atlanta.
The thing is, when I was
money
building
wise.
these, yeah, his contract is the easiest to
Mhm.
trade, and he's under contract for the next few years. Whereas,
Yeah.
like, their other big contracts are like Porzingis and like Onyeka Okongwu, and Porzingis is
Yeah.
a free agent after this year.
Mhm.
So at least with Trae Young, you get someone that's going to put butts in seats, if that makes
Yep.
sense.
Yeah. And then the Raptors one is interesting, especially with how many picks are in it. And
But the Raptors are sitting
the way
at
the
second
Raptors-
in the
yeah.
East right now.
the way the
So-
Raptors are playing, it'd be weird for them to give it up. Pairing up Giannis and Scotty Barnes is a little interesting. But yeah, I don't know why you would trade Scotty though, and so
Yeah.
especially RJ has been the weird one because
My
like
favorite player.
there's so many RJ Barrett's so weird because there's some fans out there that will have you convinced that like RJ Barrett really isn't that good, but he was playing during their 8-game win streak, and the moment he goes down, they immediately go 2-2.
Those are
Yeah.
the same people that think Cam Reddish just was in a bad situation. That's why
Yeah.
he wasn't good.
Literally,
I was said person.
I'm still said person.
I thought Cam Reddish was going to be better than RJ Barrett, but like also like I can admit that I was wrong.
As someone who has so much Kyle Pitts stock, I have equally as much Cam Reddish stock. When he was coming out of Duke, that is someone I wanted Cleveland to take at number 5. I'm not mad how it worked out, but
as someone who watched Cam Reddish go about 45 seconds trading buckets with Chris Middleton in the Eastern Conference Finals, I thought he was up next.
what's the Patrick Beverly quote to Curry? You had the last 10 years.
Yep.
Next one.
I got the next 5 or 9. Oh wow.
Oh goodness.
Anyway, well that was a fun Bucks rant though.
Yeah.
I'll be back in 3 weeks. Now to get into an equally irritating situation.
Hunter or Dawson, I'll let you take the lead on this Chris Paul situation because I know a little bit about it, but like I can't tell which was real and which one's not because it's
messed up.
He
That's
said, she said situation. I feel like, and personally, anything that is in support of the Clippers organization right now, I think is a lot of hoopla at this point.
I'll start if that's fine because Hunter's the bigger Chris Paul fan, so he's got more. Yeah. This whole situation, the way they phrased everything, the timing of this all could not have been worse for both parties. For us last week to like honor Chris Paul's career and be like, this is really cool. He's gonna be with the Clippers. It sucks they haven't like gotten it going, but like we all believed this Clippers roster before the season was gonna be like pretty good. Like I don't think anyone thought they were gonna be sitting at 6-16 through 22 games. Like that was, I think, off the table for all of us. The wording "sent him home" reminds me if like a toddler is throwing a tantrum at a daycare and his parents had to come get him. Is when you phrase it like that, it's like Chris Paul, he was just out of control. Like he was pushing other kids, like he's being a problem for the teachers, like he needs to go home. Is the way they made it sound like. Come to find out, he tried to schedule a meeting with Tyronn Lue weeks ago to kind of just like go over the disagreements that both people have. Chris Paul's a very vocal, outspoken person. He always has been. That's his MO.
He's
like
a competitor.
He wants to win at the highest level. He hasn't got to that NBA championship yet, but he's been in the finals like he's been in the finals. He has that experience. He knows what he's talking about. And then for him to just get like completely brushed off to the side by Ty Lue, it's wild to me. And I think Chris Paul realizes what he signed up for with the Clippers. It's like, oh, no one really cares, and everyone just like caters to Kawhi Leonard anymore. Like this team is just not very good, and he was very vocal about the Clippers' struggles and how he wants to do better because the Clippers, again, this was a team we all thought was going to be really good. Like maybe not the number like a top 3 seed, top 4 seed in the West, but with all the additions they made in the offseason, we thought they were poised to have a great year. Like one last year with Harden playing really well. And Harden, to be fair, playing some of the best ball of his career since Houston days. Like Harden has not been the issue with them. And I think Ty Lue just got tired of it. And it's really sad that this is how it potentially ends for Chris Paul being on a very terrible Clippers team. I hope they at least somewhat make right for Chris Paul and at least cut him so he can sign with someone. I would assume a team would bring him in. I don't think this would be the last time we see Chris Paul play in the NBA. But man, if it is, the Clippers as a franchise, just like me and Hunter were talking before, they are one of the few teams where it's like they get everything they deserve. It's just such a frustrating organization. They cater to one guy, but then they tell everyone else to do something else. It's super frustrating, and it's sad that we're going to see a guy like Chris Paul, who's been in the league for 20 years, that this is potentially how his career is going to go out. It's not cool. It's not a good look for Chris Paul. It's certainly not a good look for the Clippers, and it's a terrible look for Ty Lue because he's the one that I think was probably the main reason that Chris Paul got sent home, but just a terrible look all around.
I personally have never been a huge like Ty Lue is an amazing, unbelievable coach. And I feel like some people felt that way. Like when he got hired by the Clippers, it was like, oh yeah, great hire, blah blah blah. I was like, maybe. He did win a championship in Cleveland, so I'll give him that. This whole situation is a damn, because the Clippers' legacy right now, like as a franchise, is Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, and more specifically Chris Paul. The only reason maybe some people might pick Blake Griffin over Chris Paul is because he was drafted by the Clippers. But that was the best era that they've had as a franchise, and as of right now will probably end up being the only best era that they have had until they go through a complete rebuild with this current roster or this current state of their franchise. If you upset someone so much, like this is a toxic move for both ends, more specifically the Clippers, because you are telling the only reason that team's in LA, you're telling the player for the only reason that team is in LA still, because who knows if they would have moved or if that team would even exist if Chris Paul doesn't go to the Clippers, which is funny now looking back at the veto trades and all that stuff that happened that resulted in that. But if this relationship gets destroyed, you can't. He won't allow you to retire his number because he won't want to be there, and you're like basically going to put a ridge or like a divide between that era and the rest of the franchise history because Chris Paul is the leading force on all of the success that they had on those years, and yeah, I side with Chris Paul in this situation. I'm sorry, that's the way I am because he's a competitor. He's like, we have the tool. You on paper, you have the tools to compete for a championship with this roster. There are no excuses to explain why the Clippers are struggling so much. Injuries, I get that, but like, still, this team is like not good really at all. Personally, at least the games that I've watched. So, yeah, I hope they cut him because if they don't, it will ruin that relationship completely. Because you can't tell me that Chris Paul doesn't want to at least compete the rest of the season, even if it's like with the Pelicans, honestly, which what an
DeAndre
ending
Jordan.
that would.
DeAndre Jordan's there.
But anyways, I hope they figure something out because he needs to be somewhere else at this point. Because there's no fixing what's happened with that current roster, and there's no fixing the relationship for this season. Heck, maybe he ends up in LA. Ends up with the other LA team finally. Who knows? I don't know. But I don't want this to be the end for Chris Paul. And if it is, I will never support anything the LA Clippers do until ownership honestly changes at this point.
Before Hunter goes, pop quiz. Who owns the Clippers pick this year?
The Thunder. Unprotected.
Yeah.
And scene. The NBA is wrapped for the next 5 years. Thanks everybody for coming out. It's been fun. No, actually, it's been real. It's been fun.
Team?
It has not been real fun at all.
Can he sell the team?
Please.
Ooh, not for a while. He just built that crazy new arena.
Him and Silver are the reason the NBA right now is like it's not basketball. It's like entertainment. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys. It's like basketball is second. They might as well just call it the National Entertainment Association with how they try to like promote these games, or paint the courts, which by the way, apparently the Lakers court, for those that haven't kept up on it, for this NBA Cup is like unplayable, and they've had to like send it back for like renovations and stuff like that. But you know, the Clippers, amazing facility. Don't get me wrong, the stuff that they've added to that they built on that arena, not just for sporting events, but just entertainment, like concerts, comedy shows, whatever. There's so much interactive pieces to that stadium that adds something to it. They tried to build a college basketball like student section. The Wall, I think, is what they called it. It makes me cringe. Honestly, it's sad. So can we get back to it's the National Basketball Association? Basketball is in the name. If it was the National Entertainment of Basketball or the National Association of Basketball and Entertainment, then I'd be like, oh, okay, I get it. Basketball is in the name. Entertainment is just, I get the whole idea of you want the fans to come back, enjoy the entertainment, all that stuff. It's funny how teams that are winning consistently don't have to worry about that. That's all I will say.
I got one word. First of all, this is just the Let's Make Hunter's Blood Boil episode. It's super fun. I love it. Definitely. But one word to describe this Clippers organization move. Scummy. Scummy. Oh, it is scummy. It is awful. Just put yourself, because at the end of the day, you know, Brock said, obviously this is the National Basketball Association. At the end of the day, this is a business, all right? You can put yourself in the shoes of Chris Paul right now. Just imagine you have a continued disagreement with your boss, all right? Not even just with your boss, but like with your manager, like the person like responsible for things, okay? And things are not going the way they should be, all right? And you are vocal about this because there is a clear expectation that things should be better, and they're not being better. So you go to your manager. You try to schedule a meeting with your manager to be like, hey, like something's not right. Like, I don't know what's going on, but we need to do it. All right. And I'll say this is all speculation, but just for the sake of the argument here. Okay. And you schedule this meeting though. All right. And your manager goes, no. And then just doesn't speak to you for multiple weeks on end. You know what you call that? A toxic workplace. And you go find a new job. And instead, Chris Paul sticks around. All right. He sticks around because that's what he's paid to do. He's paid to be on the team. So he's there. And what do you decide to do when things continue to go south? You send him home like Dawson said? You put him in timeout? Are we joking? Or are we like, this is crazy. it not only like this isn't like some this isn't like the sixth man off the bench who has this high level of no, this is your 10th man. All right, sending him home's not fixing your team. Sending home the franchise legend who has an overall record of with the LA Clippers at 284 to 141 all time with Chris Paul. That includes this terrible year with your what? I don't even know how many wins added and multiple more losses added. 284 to 141. The record without him, a shade under 500. He brought your franchise into relevance. First overall in assists, first overall in assists, second overall in steals, sixth overall in points, and fifth overall in three-pointers made. And you send him home because your leadership styles clashed as a 6-16 basketball team. Yeah. Okay. Nice.
And people forget how big of an influence Chris Paul has on the current generation of people coming up into the NBA. If they have him as a mentor of any kind, who's going to want to play for the Clippers?
Nobody.
And he has a big voice and a big influence, I feel like, on the current generation of NBA basketball players, because they're a little younger than they're noticeably younger than Hunter and I now. But Dawson, I feel like you're still in that realm of kind of that age of players getting ready to go to the NBA, and even then, all three of us were kind of getting to that point. But even then, Chris Paul has been a huge contribution to the sport of basketball for decades. And not just that, there's a lot of people that actually like Chris Paul around the age of 19 to probably 30 right now. There's a lot of people that could say that Chris Paul is their favorite player of all time. And I think if Giannis never would have existed, I think, Hunter, you would say Chris Paul is your favorite player of all time. Assuming at least. If this gets worse, the Clippers are already they're already deep in the well, and it's like they fell down this well, and people are like, "Do you want us to help you out?" And he's like, "No, just hand me a shovel. I'll go deeper." And they just keep going. You're muted, Dawson.
Thank you. I remind you what Chris Paul has done for this Clippers team. He brought them back to relevance in the mid-2010s.
They gave them relevance.
Correct. When DeAndre Jordan was like, I'm going to Dallas. I'm signing with the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh my God, that photo.
Chris Paul and Blake Griffin and everyone were like, we're making sure DeAndre resigns because we want to compete. Chris Paul gets the Rockets to 64 wins. Chris Paul has been an impact player everywhere he goes. Chris Paul's like, this team with Kawhi and Harden, I really like this team. We can compete. I can be a valuable piece. And instead, he hasn't played great. But I would argue, when you only play 8 minutes a game, it's hard to get into a rhythm in any sports. I don't care. If you're the fifth wide receiver on an NFL team, it's hard to get a flow when you're running 8 routes a game. When you're the 9th or 10th man off the bench, it's tough to get a flow when your leash of playing is this big. And, well, again, Chris Paul's numbers haven't been great. I don't feel the Clippers have been giving him the best opportunity to succeed. There's no reason he shouldn't be running the second unit as the guy getting more than 14 minutes a game. I know he's 40 years old. I know you don't want to overplay him, but there's absolutely no reason that he couldn't be a bigger contributor. And I feel like the Clippers are doing him a disservice when it comes to that, because he saw that this team could be really good, wanted to bring a title to LA, because he's like, a title to the Clippers would put the Clippers on the map as a basketball powerhouse. And instead, we're sitting here on December 3rd, and the Clippers are treating him like an absolute toddler. because he just wants the Clippers to be better than what they are, and no one within the Clippers actually cares on how good they want to be.
Another thing too is like, like again, we don't know the full story. Nobody's gonna know the full story until some 30 for 30 comes out. Who knows? That probably won't happen. But nonetheless, like Chris, again, we already said Chris Paul's a very vocal person. I'm not gonna say he like peacefully walked in to Steve Ballmer's office and went, "Oh, please, sir, may I have a pleasant discourse with our head basketball coach?" That's probably not what happened. Like he probably was throwing around some colorful words to get this set up. But nonetheless, it's because he probably was pissed off about the team being bad, right? And another like when he came to LA, because obviously it was a big deal that he was returning to the Clippers, and everyone kind of knew like this was probably going to be it. Like even though he announced like, yeah, I'm retiring after this season, I feel like everybody pretty much knew this was going to be it. But in like their press conference after he got signed, and everyone gets in the room to get the reactions and get questions asked about like him coming back and stuff like that, he was pretty open about just like, I just wanted to be back on this team. Like he just knew he wanted to be on the team, not even necessarily to like be the new star point guard or to do all these things and to be the Chris Paul of the 2012s again. Like he just wanted to be on his basketball team again. And now this is how it ends. That's ridiculous. That is just ridiculous. Like why? Like why? The Miami Heat stuck Udonis Haslem on the bench for dang near a decade to do nothing. But he brought a voice to the team and they valued that. Walden in the highs and the lows. And you're going to tell me that, oh yeah, the season's not going great. Chris Paul wants to step in and do something about it as the leader that he has probably always been, even since being a rookie and all the way in New Orleans with that awful basketball team. And they're just like, I just think our leadership styles clash. I just don't think this is going to work. That's crazy. That's actually crazy.
We'll see if we'll have 3 weeks in a row of talking about Chris Paul here in the 2025-2026
That'd be wild
NBA season. Any final thoughts on those two things? We were going to give our players of the month and coach of the month recognition stuff, but we'll just post that stuff on social media because we've already been talking about an hour. And I mean, outside of the Giannis Chris Paul situation, I feel like there isn't really much to talk about in the NBA. But either you guys have final notes, final thoughts on either of those two topics or anything that we haven't mentioned.
Somebody give me a dang ibuprofen stat, please.
Amen, dude. Amen.
Golly.
This Chris Paul news epitomizes the Kawhi Leonard era that the Clippers have signed themselves up for. Because Kawhi in 2019, when he agreed to sign, had a whole laundry list of demands of he wanted. He wanted to be the guy. He wanted to be treated differently. And he wanted the coaching staff to give him nights off. And that has caused such a rift with so many guys. Even Paul George. And granted, Paul George isn't that great anymore.
He was part of the problem.
But that energy fed from Kawhi Leonard to Paul George, and it just became that organization. And it's just like Hunter said, it's a toxic work environment. And now with all this stuff going on, they're going to be a bad team over the next few years because they don't have any of their draft picks until 2030.
One bad apple.
Genuinely sorry to any actual Clippers fans out there because I'm sure seeing probably their favorite player in franchise history just get tossed aside. But in the meantime, at this point, kind of hoping all the tree stuff with Kawhi Leonard might be right. That'd be a cherry on top to everything if that turned out to be true. And all of a sudden, this Clippers organization has to be fixed legally.
I totally forgot about that.
For our sake, nothing has been confirmed.
Nothing's been confirmed, but
all alleged.
It's being investigated. That's for sure.
My sources have different opinions.
So. Trust me, bro. Is that your sources?
Yeah. I can't disclose, but yes.
Oh, okay.
inside sources tell me that Kawhi Leonard wants out. How do I know? Because I know. He's been talking about it for months now.
Yeah. I heard rumors that it wasn't going to be Sabonis to Boston this whole time. It was actually going to be Giannis to Boston.
Oh my gosh.
Just trust me,
All
bro.
right, this is where the episode needs to stop.
He actually just texted me like a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Giannis and I, dude, we're Facebook friends. Yeah.
Man, that's wild.
We always post on our timelines, happy birthday, bro, like all that stuff. Yeah. We shared each other's Apple Music replays this week. Like,
oh, Apple Music. Ew.
Yeah. What, you broke?
Imagine
yes.
imagine supporting Spotify, which pays artists less than Apple Music for streaming.
Imagine not using a college student discount to get Spotify cheaper.
Imagine being told that you can't because you have the same university email for 7 years, and they're like, "There's no way."
Use your DMAC one, Brock. I know you got your DMAC one still listed.
I wonder if that is still active.
Switch it out. Yeah, do it.
Because I've been using my Iowa State one for a while.
Use your DMAC one.
And
that's what I'm gonna do when mine runs out next year.
It's like if they actually like double.
Unless Spotify's listening to this, then I will not. I will pay for a full year.
We're definitely not like this. This podcast definitely doesn't air on both Apple Podcasts and Spotify, but
yeah, thanks for listening on Spotify. I didn't just call you broke. I promise. I definitely didn't.
Yeah, please don't shadow ban the podcast.
Keep listening.
Please.
Keep listening. Use whatever you want.
Gosh. Yeah, use SoundCloud. We're on SoundCloud. We technically are.
People should be, no offense, people should be just watching the video version. I think the videos are a hell of a lot funnier than what the audio
YouTube,
is.
Facebook, and Twitter. That's what we're on, man, for all of our live stream video versions of these podcasts. I know there's ways to do it on Spotify. Honestly, I've been too lazy. And plus, I don't know many people that use Spotify podcast videos. I know that they're like, it's an option. I think if you're going to get on Spotify, you're just going to listen to it. Again, other shows that are way, way bigger than us probably have those people. But like, if I'm watching a video, I'm getting on YouTube. Like all the podcasts I listen to.
You don't think we're up there with like the Joe Rogan podcast and all that? Joe Rogan.
I don't think we come
we're
close
like
to even the Bertcast.
We're just behind.
Dude, Brady, I just got a text. We were featured on the Joe Rogan podcast. Sources? Me? I know. Trust me. It's happening.
Me and Joe Rogan, dude. Like,
this has been scheduled for months now.
Yeah.
You can't convince me otherwise that Joe Rogan and Dana White aren't the same person. I haven't seen them
together. Even when apparently they're in the same ring, I've never seen them on the same time on the camera.
That's folklore.
Like, people are like, I see them in the same ring. I watch the pay-per-views. One's on the screen, and then the other one shows up. You can't convince me that it's not the same person. It's just the guy is good at changing stuff. Is that tinfoil?
It's the closest thing I have to a tinfoil hat, so I have to put it on real quick.
That's great. All right, we'll sign off for this week. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Make sure to listen to our NFL podcast, Between the Hashes podcast. Dawson, Braden, and myself, Hunter, we went through the rest of the games of the season and like what the playoffs would look like if all the games went a certain way. The Bengals make the playoffs.
Sir, yes, sir.
The Bengals make the playoffs.
Wow.
To see the rest of them, you're going to have to go over to the Between the Hashes podcast to see that stuff. And we may have some news on a potential new episode and new crew joining the 515 podcast family in the next couple of weeks, but that news will be decided at a later date. So for Hunter Rose and Dawson Livingston, we appreciate all your support. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, whatever you can do to help support us here on the 515 Podcast Network, and we will see you next week.